Artemi Panarin from the Big Apple to the City of Angels. This is NHL Wraparound Quick Takes, and on Wednesday afternoon, in advance of the Olympic roster freeze, Rangers star forward Artemi Panarin goes to Los Angeles. In exchange, the Rangers get forward Liam Greentree, who was a first pick by the Kings in 2024, 26th overall. And the Rangers also get a conditional third-round draft pick if the Kings win one round of the playoffs this year. That is, if they make it, that becomes a second-round pick. And if the Kings win 2 rounds, then New York will also receive a 2028 fourth-round pick. The Rangers will also retain 50% of Panarin's salary, which now has a 2-year extension attached to it as part of the deal with the Kings. Your thoughts?
We were waiting for this to come down somewhere, see where Panarin went. The strategy of holding him out of games by the Rangers to make sure that they had a place where he could go and he wouldn't get hurt, and so it wouldn't nullify the trade. You know, you're talking about a player who's gotten 927 points in 804 games. So there's no doubt he's a great offensive player. He certainly doesn't like to grind it out. He likes to play a freestyle game. But LA is a little bit lean. They're very lean on goal scoring, and I'm sure they are hoping that Panarin could get them into the playoffs, perhaps score some goals for them, make sure they're in the playoffs, and then perhaps win a round, something they haven't done for an awful long time.
If you're Chris Drury at this point, you held him out prior to the break. Could he have held out until after the break to make this move? Was this the maximum return that he could have gotten? I mean, this player, Liam Greentree, had a very good year for the Windsor Spitfires a year ago, 64 games at 49 goals. 70 assists, 119 points, and a plus 55. Almost identical numbers to the season Panarin had 2 years ago, where he was 49, 71, 120.
Yeah, the same thing, except in a little bit harder league in the NHL than in the OHL. Greentree is a player that's not a world-class player by any means. He's played 3 games in the World Junior Tournament this past winter when the Canada team came in third and won the bronze medal. He got 1 assist in those 3 games that he played. He's a big kid, and we'll have to see and wait. And we don't know what the Ranger scouts were saying about Greentree, if that was somebody they coveted. And we don't know what Panarin's demands were on where he would go or wouldn't go. He had a total no move. So it's not great return for a star player in the league, that's for sure. But when you give guys no move, you don't expect to get much back for them.
Greentree this season, 23 goals, 22 assists in 34 games, and a plus 11. So apparently the full-blown rebuild is underway in New York, because you have to think that there are potentially other moves that are going to be forthcoming here, because certainly without Panarin, we said opening night on NHL Wraparound, they were going to have a hard time scoring goals this season, and now you move your most dynamic player, so you can only be pointing towards the future, and a future that is going to take a long time to develop.
Well, and it's, as Chris Drury said, it's just going to do some retooling of this.
Yeah.
And you trade away your best offensive player without any question. You move him out and you bring in a kid that's playing in the OHL and a pick, which is nobody. So you get nobody back. There's nobody coming to the Rangers' aid this season. I don't know how you call that retooling. You know, retooling doesn't usually mean excising somebody out of your lineup and not replacing them. So we'll see where this goes from here.
I got on my soapbox on that a couple of days ago, so I'm done talking about it. A smaller deal that was also consummated between the New Jersey Devils and the St. Louis Blues. Nick Bjugstad, who had signed as a free agent with St. Louis for 2 years, $3.5 million, goes over to the Devils in exchange for forward Thomas Bordeleau and a conditional 2026 fourth round pick. The Devils actually have 3 picks in that fourth round, and that would be the last of those 3 picks. Bjugstad has had some offensive potential over the years, not great, but this year just didn't work out in St. Louis. Only 6 goals and 1 assist in 35 games and a -7.
Doug Armstrong, the general manager of St. Louis, it looks to me like he was just trying to get some salary out of there, out of St. Louis, get some dead wood, as you might call it, out of there. The Devils have been through a bunch of injuries, so perhaps they needed that player for that. They certainly can't think that Bjugstad's going to propel them into the playoffs from where they sit right now, which is 15th in the Eastern Conference.
Could this potentially be a deal that just sets up something else that maybe Tom Fitzgerald is planning?
It could be, but Bjugstad isn't that coveted that, you're going to turn around and say, well, if I can get Bjugstad, would you give me this for him? I mean, that usually goes with better players. So I would think it's just a gap filler for Tom Fitzgerald.
That's NHL Wraparound Quick Takes. On behalf of Neil, I'm Vic. Thanks for tuning in.